So looking back against Kansas, over 300 yards on the ground, no sacks. I don't believe a quarterback hurry was even registered. When you look back at the performance of the line, what things kind of really jump out to you?
They played their game. They communicated better. You see them out there talking, and when stuff went wrong, which it always does, they moved on to the next play pretty fast. Where the young people sometimes woe is me. It takes them a while to get back. So I thought they did a good job of responding to when things didn't go their way, and whether they missed the block or goofed up on the assignment. I thought they did good. I thought they were aggressive, and it all started with their practice. I knew they were going to come out and perform at their highest potential that day because they practiced well.
Just for the offensive line as a whole, you talked about they were able to move on. Where did that come from? Something you guys emphasized during the week, or is that something?
Yeah, I mean that's just throughout. You do that all in January. I mean, you guys hear it out there. I mean, we're hard on them, and I tell them, I said, fellas, if you can't respond to me yelling at you at practice and coaching you hard, I said, you're not going to do it on Saturday. I said, I'm trying to make Saturdays easy. I'm trying to make the meetings and such a tough, uncomfortable place because they can respond to that. And that's Coach Joe's been doing that since summer, and so it's a thing that's built. If they screw up on the you guys been out here, when they screw up on a stretch, they do up downs, and so all those little things matter. And for them to respond and not to complain about it, or just the human nature is just to blame or whatever it is, and that's what we're trying to get out of them, just to move on, good or bad. And sometimes they do something good, they're patting each other on the back, and I was like, hey, go to the next play, fellas. So it's just an ongoing process with young people, and this is about life too. It's just, you gotta respond.
So at left tackle, it looks like Emmett's getting a little bit more time there with the rotation of Josh. So how do you see that situation kind of playing out going forward with those two?
Well, I mean, it's still a competition. And Josh had a better camp and got the nod and was practicing playing better. And it's not that Josh was playing bad. It's just Emmett's starting to pick it up to where he was last year. And so, it's competition, and it keeps him fresh. And I love to rotate guys to keep guys fresh and keep guys. When you get rotated, you can do one of two things. You can respond negatively and feel sorry for yourself, or you can cheer the other guys on. And when you start cheering the other guys on, then that's when you start getting closer and closer, and then your energy level goes up when it's your time. I thought they did a good job feeding off each other. And last drive it was all right. Well, I'm going to go with the guy that with the hot hand. And at that time, in the fourth quarter, I thought Josh was playing just a little bit better than Emmett, and Emmett was like, I got you. He's balling. And so when they said that, and Emmett wanted to be out there, but he's like, hell yeah, I got you, coach. He's playing well. And so it was good. Do
you feel like that's just kind of part of Emmett, still kind of coming back from it, like the mental side of things?
Yeah, when you get an injury like that where someone falls on you, it's just a strength thing. It's just you're always kind of looking behind you, and so I think it's just him just getting back to used to, all right, I can't control what's not going to happen, what is going to happen. So I just got to go forward and start being more aggressive and not holding back on, like, okay, if someone's going to follow me or not. So it takes time. Anybody gets injured like that and in a traumatic fashion like he did last year, it's going to take him time to come back. And I told him, because he does everything right. And I said, just don't get frustrated. Just keep responding, keep moving forward. And so you get it. It's going to come back. And he's starting to get that, back, that feeling back.
Kyle got the start at right guard, I believe.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him, his growth? Obviously a guy who had some adjustment things, got to the major college game a year ago, but seems to have really kind of hit a different gear here.
Yeah, he's grown, and the big part is our support system here, and the guy's got his back even when last year wasn't looking too good and he was struggling. From the strength room with Coach Conley and through our old GAs, Coach Steve Miller, and even now, just guys, they start to support each other. And when guys are going through tough times and an adjusting period, and they all do it, they all have gone through the time. And when you can support a guy like that, and then you see his growth. You support a guy like that, it doesn't grow. It's like, all right, you give up on him. But that guy he kept growing, he kept battling, and he kept getting better. And then you start seeing flashes of, this guy can help us. And then he went out there and he played confident, and he didn't play perfect. He played hard, and he did a good job. And he's been, I've been sprinkling him in, here and there. And the fact that we don't notice that he's in is a good thing. He's not screwing up too much. So he's still got a lot of upside, and he's still learning the game and he's going to make some mistakes, but he's trending upward.
I've been seeing some of those flashes with him, just being ready to compete at this level. Was there anything or any moment that kind of stands out in particular that you're like, that's how much he's grown in a year?
Well, not really. I mean, just throughout his whole process. But I remember one particular time, and we were at Camp T, And this summer, we were down bodies. I think it was like our last practice. And I looked at Kyle and said, hey, can you go out and play tackle for today? I did. He went out and played left tackle. And then our right tackle, Max, went down. I was like, hey, can you go slide over? With the twos. So sure, I did. He did the whole game. He was having fun. He was running around. He really didn't know what he was doing. He kind of did, but he was running around, playing physical, playing hard, having fun. And so that's when I said, okay, his progression is what we thought it was. And again, he credit to him. He's worked his tail off from the minute he got here to the off season, and he's still working his tail off to just become the best version of himself out there.
Utah always has a ferocious front. You know, what jumps out about this year's version of that defensive line? They got high IQs. They know where to go. They know how to get there, and they have a plan. You know, and on top of their how physical they play, but they're smart players. You're not going to fool them. You're not going to trick them, and that just goes to their coaching staff. They do a great job, and those players believe in it. You can see them playing hard, and they're tough communicating. When a team constantly communicates, then you know that they work their tail off and to communicate, and there's something to say. So you'll never see them outside of a gap. You're not going to trick them. It's a heavyweight fight, and you got to be able to throw blows at them and take their blows and strain enough to win.
When you're facing a team like that, it's really ferocious up front. How much does that kind of change your game plan going into it?
It doesn't. You got to be who you are. You got to be consistent in who you are, and you can't come up with new plays or new things, and just got to bank on doing what we do. Because it's you've invested in your time in the plays that we call, and whether it's run or pass, and we can't change because we're playing against a good defense, and you just got to double down on what we do and try to put our kids in the best angles they can to execute what we do and give them a chance to play fast.
What about from their scheme? Like, what are some of the things that stand out that you see on film right now?
Well, they just the linebackers play well off the defensive line. The defensive line does a good job of trying to disrupt the patterns of blocking and patterns of combos and of the offensive line. They do a good job of kind of getting people off levels, and so the linebackers play well off of them, and their DBs give them enough time to make some things happen in the run game and in the pass game. And going back to the run game, the linebackers and the DBs fill so fast that you can't stay on double teams as long as you would like to, and so. That's part of their being aggressive and triggering down there when you see an open gap. So they do a good job of protecting each other, and then the defensive line they're really good athletes, and they can make plays if you're not on them correctly, or if you're not you don't have a double team on them as long as you can. But it's about angles. It's about who's the technique is better, and both teams are going to play hard. There's no doubt about that. And there's two good cultures going at it.
Are there any unique challenges that kind of come with that, with not being able to stick on the double teams for too long?
No, I mean it's as in every offensive line coach, you want to take your defensive lineman on double team up to the linebacker, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And again, I don't care who you play. If someone allows me to double team your defensive lineman up to linebacker, I'm going to take it. But that's anybody, and so for them they do a good job, and and our guys do a good job. So it'll be a good matchup.
What about their front? So I noticed they're primarily uses that full front, and they also bring pressure on with five guys down there, and also saw one when they loaded up one side, dropped them all in the coverage, and came pressure from the opposite side. Yeah. What are some of the challenges that can provide? Maybe it's communication, making sure you guys are all on the same page.
Yeah, well, when you're away, it's hard to communicate because it gets loud out there, especially on third downs. All those unique things that they do is primarily third down stuff. But when you're at home and you can communicate a little bit better, it helps a little bit. But it's all about communication and where your eyes and where your plan of attack and just trying to figure out where you're supposed to be and where the ball's supposed to go. And that's it is as unique as football is. It's a simple game. Like, where are you trying to put your body between you and the ball carrier? And there's only 5 of us, and we got to figure out which 5 guys we're going to block, and which 2 or 3 guys or the running backs are going to block, and which guy the quarterback has. So it's all about communication and making sure we're going to 5. The running back has 1, and the quarterback has another one in the pass game. And then the run game, same thing. We got our 5. The quarterback reads one of them, and we're handing it off. And if there's an extra guy, our running back's got to make him miss or fall forward. So it's a simple game in football, and it's going to be a fun night, and I can't wait to see him, and I know our guys are hungry, and just itching to get back out there and play with each other.
Leaf was talking about yesterday about pressing with Scatterbo pressing the line of scrimmage on the offensive lineman to get to that next level and to get more yards. What do you feel like kind of worked well, and how did that maybe improve for Kansas?
Well, they run, like the running backs, they do a good job of
of taking the angle they're supposed to in the direction of the run. And if they divert that angle too soon, then the linebackers or whoever we're doubling will come off the angle that we've taken to block them. But I think our running backs do a really good job of being patient. You hear that term, patient, where they stay with their line of attack until it's time for them to move. And when it's time for them to move as a running back or cut, and then the linebacker is cut, and then we're able to stay on our paths. Whether it to be a double team or one-on-one block, it's just easier when we find our path and stay on that path. And sometimes you see those running backs cut it back too early, and then it's like the linebacker goes over top. Where's the But I think our running backs do a great job of being patient and sticking to their landmark or their line, however you want to see it, and allows the linebackers to be where they're supposed to be for us. And so they, and they run hard too. You just got to give them a little space, and they'll run through a small space and an arm tackle. So we're lucky we got really good backs, and then Sam is a threat. Sam gets back there and he feels no one's on him. He takes off and he's a threat. So it's nice to have those guys. We just got to make sure we got a body on body, put 5 on 5.
Of course, there's no secret that this year's offensive line has a lot more depth than last year. But from your perspective, how much deeper just is this offensive line compared to last year?
It's hard to compare, because you're such in the moment with this season. It's just kind of, hell, it's hard for me to recall from Kansas, So it's just really hard as you're in season, because everything you do is in the moment, the day. Even right now, I'm going to be back to finish red zone and things like that. So it's tough to compare. A lot of these guys are the same guys, and they're just improving. And do I wish we were deeper? Absolutely. Do I wish I had 2 more Leafs and 2 more Bens and 2 more Maxes? Yeah. But when we don't, and we're fine with it. But this is what year 2 of a new staff looks like, and then year 3 is going to hopefully look better. Year 4 is going to hopefully look better, and that's how you build. Kind of what we want to do here is start building your depth and building what you want your room to look like.
When you reflect back on playing Utah a year ago, it was when Sean had to play left tackle. You guys told him on the plane going there.
Yeah.
When you kind of reflect on that moment compared to where you are now, what are some of the improvements and some of the things that you've seen progress-wise with this group?
Well, I was trying to recall the last year's game plan, but it was just so far away. Every game is different. And the thing I remember is I told the true freshman that he was going to play left tackle, and he didn't flinch. It's like, okay. And he just looked at me and goes, hey, that's what that guy is, right? They're All-American linebacker, defensive end. He was awesome, Ellis. And I was like, yep. He goes, okay. Didn't flinch. And he's like, I may not know some of the plays, those specialty plays. I said, no, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Trust yourself. And that's what I remember when I went to that kid, and he was like, I'm good. He goes, I'm going to fight him, coach. I'm going to give me everything I got. And I said, I know you will. And so for him to say that, I remember that, and that he didn't flinch, and for a guy like that to play against in that atmosphere against Ellis is pretty special.